Well, tell me more about your book because I'm excited for it because I can't wait to get them in the salons.
Oh, I am very excited. Okay, it's 240 pages, lots of color pictures, a lot of vintage photographs. We connected with this woman in town who has collected postcards of Naples for years. She's been a great source. They have a historic district, they try to make it look like, but there's so little left. And that's one reason Paul and I are a little in quandary because we live in a very old house and we're trying to find someone who would buy it to preserve it. Turns out I'm walking to my car, Paul pulls up and gets out of his car. We just have this very brief chat. And it was just funny. It was like 5 minutes, but we had all this stuff in common. There's so much stuff.
This is the first time.
The first time we met.
Yeah.
And we had so much in common that apparently I carded him because I didn't believe we had the same birthday after being told we had the same this. But anyway, back then, you didn't give him a number. He didn't give me a number. It was no emails. It was no nothing. It was just like, hi, bye, see you later. So I remember the first time, and it was a long time ago, it was like, but somebody that was sort of, an early cell phone user. They had dinner with us, and I remember how insulted I got when, we're sitting here having a conversation at a dinner table, and he's looking down at his phone. I wanted to grab it and throw it.
Yeah, I know.
I do kind of worry about the fragility of the shopping districts downtown. I mean, the rents keep going high.
Oh my
People
gosh,
have to
I know.
leave,
There's only people who can afford it. The chains that are coming.
That's
in
what
now
I'm saying.
with the deep pockets. Today's guest is someone who quite literally carries the heartbeat of Naples in her stories. Eileen Arsenault isn't just a longtime resident; she's a living archive of our town's soul. From the days when 3rd Street was quiet and summer meant gone fishing signs in all the shops, to the vibrant, ever-evolving community we see today, she's seen it all. Eileen's love for the city runs deep. She and her husband Paul have spent decades preserving the charm, the character, and the human history of Naples, not just through art and storytelling, but through a commitment to protecting the places and people that make this paradise feel like home. In a world that's always chasing the new, Eileen reminds us why it matters to remember where we came from, the cottages, the friendships, the Friday night gatherings, and the way neighbors once waved through the window just to say hello. Her voice is warm, her heart is grounded, and her story is a love letter to Naples itself. So settle in, because by the end of this conversation, you'll not only fall in love with Eileen, you'll see Naples through her eyes as a place worth remembering, cherishing, and preserving for generations to come.
Vintage cottage.
They were allowed to do that?
In this town, there are no rules protecting historic houses. And
really?
It's very frustrating for the Historical Society because, they have to depend on people wanting to. It's really, they encourage and all that, but it's the property values here are just too high to get people to want to hold on to something that they can sell, and all of a sudden they'll get 100 times more than they paid for it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That kind of
I
thing.
thought that area was preserved. I didn't know
They
that
have a historic district. They try to make it look like, but there's so little left. And that's one reason Paul and I are a little in quandary because we live in a very old house. And we're trying to find someone who would buy it to preserve it. It needs to be raised like all of them. We're all pretty low, and we all got flooded. And
with
Ian,
and
a lot of us are older who own them.
Yeah.
We've been there. Paul and I've been there moved there as renters 43 years ago, and sort of patched together a partnership when we had a chance to buy it. And but many of the people who own old houses now don't want to go through it again.
Sure,
the post-Ian thing.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. And after so many years of having
all those years,
we got so spoiled.
All those years, wasn't that incredible? Like so many years, and every year they'd say, "Oh, the surge." What surge?
I learned what a surge was the hard way. I'll tell you.
That was something. In all the years that we've been here,
I know.
Nothing
How'd
like
you
that.
do?
We were lucky. We were real lucky. We're in a newer home on Livingston, but even all the salons, which here, even though the bayfront, the streetway out there, there were fish in it, so, but it never came into
You're
the salon.
kidding, because you're up a little bit.
Just enough that it came right to the door.
Wow,
never
y'all
came
are
in.
lucky.
And then the village was a mess because there were cars in the parking lot, cars in the canal, but they're the same thing. We had nothing there. We got real lucky compared to what everybody else went through. My gosh, that was just
Now, what
so
about,
distant.
don't y'all still have a place near Food and Thought, or is that no
No,
longer?
nothing in that area. Nothing over there. Nothing.
Okay.
Just this one here. Well, we used to be at the original location was where Marissa's
Third
is.
Street. Yeah, I remember y'all
The
there.
original was. She took over that other side there, so we moved from there to above what was the old Naples
Upstairs.
pub.
Yeah, that's where I remember y'all.
Yeah, and we were there for 10, and then came over here, which was a big deal to leave that area because Dad had been there forever. He'd sit in that Broad Avenue and 3rd Street corner, that corner building, which Carlo Paterno.
That's like the heart of town. Yeah.
And my father used to love. He would be there early in the morning.
Were y'all
and
on
he
the
was
second
in the corner
floor,
welding.
first floor?
First floor.
Yeah.
David Sexton, the lawyer, was upstairs.
Yeah.
With Bond, Schoenig, and King. Bruce D, the accountant, was a CPA. He was upstairs in that same building. And Mark Chrisman, the men's clothing store, was on another chunk of that. Marissa has it all now. And he would cut hair early in the morning in the window. He would see everybody leaving from Port Royal going to work, coming because that's the way they had to go. And then he'd see them coming back at night because he was still cutting in the window. He loved to cut hair, and he'd do it from morning till night. And he'd see everybody out the window. They'd beep, and he'd wave at the window. And then they would have beers. Whoever was there, they would have their Friday night, every night they would have beers, in the back room there. David Sexton would come down and Bruce D would come down, and they'd have their little powwows, there for years, in that.
But there was
spot.
no restaurants really on the street, remember?
No.
3rd Street was just kind of closed up in the summers. That's
You
what I
really did.
remember.
I have ads that he had, old Naples Daily News ad that says "Gone fishing." It'd be closed for 2 weeks in the summer. He would go fishing and just close the salon because it was nothing
no
there.
one here. Yeah. Everyone left. That's sort of, 3rd Street was just, there was no reason to go there.
No, there was nothing going on.
No.
He had there's a picture from, I think the Daily News, or maybe it was the Naples Star at the time, of when we lived in Vanderbilt, because Vanderbilt in 1977 was like almost being in Fort Myers compared to down here. It was like way out. Anything north of Pine Ridge Road was like you were going to distant land.
Exactly.
There's a picture of him going to work, and he's in a little MG, a convertible MG, on the corner of Vanderbilt and 41, and there's nothing.
No.
There's just that sign that says Vanderbilt Inn this way, where the old Ramada was, and of course it was just Pelican Bay. Nothing was there.
Oh, no. There's a good picture that the United Arts people, I think, are using. It's a picture of Debbie Clementi, who started United Arts, with Myra.
Myra.
In front of a car with the sign that says, coming soon, Philharmonic.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, there's nothing in Pelican Bay.
Nothing. It was just.
And we
all
remember
woods.
that, don't we?
Yeah.
And
It
it's
was
so
nothing.
grown in now. It's
You've seen it all.
beautiful.
You've seen everything, and right around you too.
Yeah.
I mean, even when the plaza was built in '90 or whatever that was, the plaza was built there,
Yeah.
right in front of you guys.
I remember when I moved across, because, I moved there in 1982 in the house, and across the street where the plaza is now, there was this beautiful hedge of Australian pines to just shaded the street. It was so nice. And then I remember coming home one day from work, and they were they're like cut off at the waist. It was so like, what in the world? And then, of course, it took them a year or two to kind of clear the rest of the land. And
So there was, I don't remember, there was nothing there where the plaza was, or was there a home or anything?
Just the little cottages that face Broad that used to be the tennis shop and all that. Those were there on that strip. When Paul got here, the barracks were still there, but they were gone by the time I got here. So he got here in the 70s. I got here in 82. So that barracks were part of the original hotel, but they were the last things to tear down. So he remembers those, but they were gone. So when I got there was just a field with trees, one big tree, and and then the plaza, and then they finally got rid of that. After,
that was like a ghost town for a long time.
I know,
It just
and it
ended
was
up being nothing.
starting to be vandalized.
Yeah, I could see. I remember walking around there thinking, "This is Naples.
Kinda
What's going on?"
creepy.
It was the way things were growing in, and it just looked.
Oh, and people were using,
spooky.
graffiti and getting kind of breaking the windows. It was getting. I think the city finally made them tear it down.
Yeah, and they gave him permission to build this I can't imagine what it's like for you because every day you look out at these
Well, and I hear
cranes.
it.
Yeah.
It's still loud. Yeah, it's going to be, what it is. It'll be a big hotel. You know? So.
Well, when we were there, it was a year ago, I think, when we went there.
Oh, yeah, to visit, yeah.
To go on site, take some pictures, and just to look around this little area there. There was a lot going on. Big trucks.
Oh, they work a lot. I mean, especially in the beginning. I think now I don't see as many people, but they were sun up to sundown. They really are getting it done. And I hear that it'll be ready for business by the end of January. I don't, who knows?
Oh, really? They're that close? I haven't been there in a while. I don't think I've been there since we were there.
Oh, well, gosh.
Go down there. It's been a while,
The color is in it looks kind of it looks more than half finished on our side.
Okay.
And then the broad side still looks kind of messed up, but they're working. They're working a lot, and I think they probably feel like they got through hurricane season, and that must have been a panic for everybody. But
are they? Is it still underground parking there, or what? Did they leave that there?
It's still underground parking.
It is. Oh, okay.
And Paul and I went to the meetings, and basically they're letting people come in off Broad. It's only valet. So they're going to have valet underneath, and then some of the service trucks are going to be right across from us, where they are going to have to go pick up laundry. And is that second? On second, it's Gordon. It changes from second to Gordon at Broad. So I think it's going to be kind of loud because they're going to be doing the beep, 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 beep.
That's where they're going to do the laundry service, food, all the rest of it, right in front of you.
Yeah, I don't know if the food, I think I know they said the laundry and the trash maybe, but they said, we have this fancy trash composed that we're going to not have to pick up every day or something. I think. The
beeping, the revving.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah. You know what? Elon Musk had come on and was talking about these electric trucks that he has, that he was saying not only the benefit of it being electric, but for things like that, for the noise that they make when they're going to residential areas.
But won't they still need to make them? Because that's a safety thing, isn't it?
With what?
With beep, 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 so let people know.
Yeah, there might still be that, I would assume, but the just the diesel engine that just is rumbling all the time. But you're right, the beeping, you're going to have to hear that backup. That's right. Yeah, that's a part of it, But just I think when I go to New York, I don't know how people live like that. I guess they just get used to that. Constant.
I think you must, Do you get to New York much?
No, no, I haven't been in years. Yeah. My wife had a business trip up there, and I'm from Philadelphia, but I went. I would go with her to visit, and I meet so many people. We meet so many people who are from there. They've escaped New York, and now they're just happy to be out of there. But it used to be nice to visit for restaurants and things. But I don't have a.
We got all those restaurants here.
We do. I know. There's no reason to go there. I don't have anything. Burning desire to go back. I feel bad. I was sharing a story about a business up there that really, I don't know. I had a lot of empathy and hurt my heart for these hardworking business people. They own a Dairy Queen. They own a Dairy Queen franchise in New York, and they had been paying their staff the whatever wage they chose. It was beyond minimum wage for years, but they were paying them biweekly, which is how most businesses pay. Yeah. It's how most of the payroll companies are set up, to pay everybody biweekly. They add the hours up, give the totals, print the paychecks. So they've done this for years. Well, somebody in New York found an old law from the sweatshop days in the 20s where they had a law that was if you worked in a sweatshop, you had to be paid weekly. This is if you worked in a sweatshop, a shop that they were worried about the conditions. Mm-hmm. Well, they allowed New York to use this law to prosecute these business owners at a Dairy Queen in 2025 to say, you owe all this back bad pay, which came to like $6 million, some crazy number. It wasn't that they owed bad pay, but the penalties that they had to pay and the interest that they had to pay because they didn't pay weekly, because they were classifying Dairy Queen as a sweatshop.
And they got away with
Absurd. They actually had to pay whatever this number was. And who got most of the money? Wasn't the employees. Employees maybe got $50 each who used to work there. The lawyers. It was, they're all the lawyers who got to sue and, the settlement and all the rest of that, the lawyers pocketed most of the money out of the whole deal.
This is why they're lawyer jokes.
Yeah, right. It is, right? Yeah. And just
I
a very
mean,
business
it's
unfriendly
a shame
thing.
that Dairy Queen couldn't afford to hire their own lawyer because that seems so wrong.
It is. And these girls, as a franchisee, they didn't have the resources to fight, which it really is archaic. It's like, what are you doing, New York? I mean, seriously.
You can't compare a Dairy Queen to a sweatshop.
You can't. You can't at all. They're good hardworking people, take care of their employees.
Glad to have a job. And,
exactly. They're employing people. They're helping the tax base and helping the community and, making people happy with ice cream.
Yeah.
Just
makes you crazy.
It just makes me appreciate where we are.
Yeah.
We have our own set of issues, but it's not like, what they have up there. So I don't have that desire. I'm happy my father moved us out of there many, many years ago and took us to paradise. I mean, we live in.
Were you very young when y'all moved?
Yeah, I was 12. I was in Philadelphia until I was 12, and we moved here in '77. So, at the time, it was like a dream. Anybody leaving the city, my father and mother both grew up in little Italian neighborhoods in West Philadelphia, and it was a big deal for them to even leave the city. We lived in the suburb, which was only 3 miles, but it was far away from Grandma and Pop-Up's house enough that they left the city at the time. But then when he wanted to move here, as a pioneer as he was,
I was going to say, how did he even know about this place? Did he have a friend?
He just knew Florida. He wanted to be in Florida. He wanted to fish and hunt, and he loved the sun, and he just wanted to live in Florida. We didn't know where we were going to go. We just
got in the car?
literally made us sell everything we owned because we packed up and we lived in a motorhome, a 30-foot motorhome, and it was just, we're just going to go on this adventure for the summer. We sold the house there and had to, I had accumulated whatever you have as a 12-year-old. You got to sell it all. We had garage sale to sell everything we had except for some clothes, and we're headed to Florida. So we lived we drove up and down. He loved the Keys. He really wanted to be in the Keys because the fishing, and so we stayed at in Long Key, outdoor resorts at the time. We stayed there for a month. It was like heaven as a kid.
Oh God, I imagine.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, the fishing, the lobstering, the sun, the pool, the kids.
Was it just the three of you? Did you
it
have
was
siblings?
Mom, Dad, my 2 sisters.
Your 2 sisters. Okay.
A dog and a cat, Moose and Abigail, in this 30-foot motorhome. And we didn't know where we were going to live. And my mother was saying, we have to find a spot. School's coming up. We got to get him in school. Where are we going to go? He was arguing for the Keys, and she said, absolutely no. I'm not raising my kid in the Keys. My kid's in the Keys. So we drove up and down the coast. We were at Sarasota. We were always on the West Coast. We had friends on the East Coast, but he liked the West Coast because it was untouched. And somehow we found Caribbean Trailer Park in North Naples, which is still there. And they didn't even allow motor vehicles, motor homes, but they got them to make an exception so we could park the motorhome because we needed to get into school, registered for school. So they let them park the motorhome so we weren't in some park that was way out. So we lived there until they found a house, but we started school at Pine Ridge Middle School and Naples Park Elementary and for my sister. And that was how we picked it. I think it was just running out of time, and they found a spot they could stay, and luckily it was Naples, and we were hit, which I feel lucky that we did.
It is. That's a great journey.
Yeah,
God.
yeah. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I didn't have to worry about what they had to worry about. He was running out of money. It wasn't like they had any money.
They had to find a house.
Had to find a house and had to find a job. He had to go to work.
And did he right away start a salon, or
no? He didn't want a salon. He wanted to be able to leave at 5 and go fishing, and stuff. So he worked in a couple salons. Headmaster was one of them. And that was where his name came from because there were two. There's Bob Green and Robert DeLello. There were 2 Bobs there. They cut hair, but the other guy was from Ohio.
Okay.
And Dad was from Philadelphia. So when people call, they would say, I want to get my hair cut by Robert or Bob, and they say, which one?
Robert of Philadelphia.
The Philly one. Robert of Philadelphia. So that's where the name kind of came from. So when it came time, I don't know if you remember Eva Kovacs.
Oh yeah, I mean I know of her because Paul has talked about her, and I have the picture of her on the cover of some magazine with her
Hungarian beautiful model and her facial structure.
I know about her, but I never met her. Yeah.
She came to town and was opening up Eva Kovacs Beauty Emporium, which is a modeling and hair and skin and this whole thing, which was a new concept at the time. I think Elizabeth Arden had something similar in L.A., but Eva came here to do that. So she wanted him to run the hair department. So he went to work with her at the Camargo House. Okay. Was where Eva Kovacs was, which is still
downtown,
there. Yep. And they worked together, and then he still didn't want to open a place, but there were some business problems there. Like FPL was showing up saying the bill hasn't been paid. So he was having to take the money out of the drawer to pay them because he wasn't running the business side of it, but he could see the handwriting on the wall that it wasn't being run right. So he knew that was going to close. So that's when they met Carlo Paterno, my mother, and he were just looking for a place for him to cut hair because he didn't have anywhere to go. He knew this was going to close. And they went to Carlo and said, we'd like to use your space and open a salon, but we don't have money to open a place. And Carlo handed them a blank check and said, go ahead and build it out, do what you need to do, and pay me when you can.
Oh, my.
On a handshake.
That doesn't happen much.
No. 3-page lease was not like the 80-page 10 lawyer things you get now. Oh. And, I think Carlo had a thing for my mom, so he liked her. So old Italian man.
Yeah, what a great story, though.
Yeah. It was, gave them the opportunity to. So I remember my mom was answering the phone on the floor. They didn't have a desk. They had a little card table and just had a place for him to cut hair. And
how much of the space did he have there?
Well,
just
they had that corner. They had the northeast corner. Yeah, because Mark Christmas was directly next door, then Marisha's. Okay. So it was like that, just that corner. And they had expanded afterwards, but that was the window. He wanted that window.
Oh, that's a great
Carlo
window.
getting that window, yeah.
That's like Billy Van Arsdale told me his daddy.
There's another name.
Yeah,
Van Arsdale.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, the book we're working on that Paul probably told you, we're almost published. It's at the printer right this minute. And,
which is, the name is?
An Artful History of Naples and Collier County.
How special is that?
It's going to be very special. I brought sort of the mock-up, but it doesn't look like it's going to look. I mean, it's going to be really pretty, but I wanted to, with the way we approached it, it's not chronological, which is going to make people crazy because I can't even find my way through it after working on it for 4 years. Yeah. But we went by activity. So like there's 4 sections. First section is hunters and harvesters. The second section is traders and trailblazers. And so it'll go like hunters and harvesters will go from the Calusa Indians all the way up to like a Immokalee food, farmers because it's hunters and harvesters. So it's not broken into 19, 20, 30, 40. Yeah. So it is a little disjointed. But the third part is Neapolitans and cosmopolitans. And I can't even remember. John Van Arsdale, he's in the Traders and Trailblazers because, he started all that.
Yeah.
But Billy told me that the way they, when he got started, he was so hands-on, probably like your father, and he kept the phone for PBA next to his bed. And people would call them at like 1 a.m. and say, my bags didn't make it, and he would get dressed. I mean, he was so involved. Yeah. And I just don't think that ethic, you don't feel that as much anymore.
What a blast from the past to hear the Van Arsdale name and PBA Airlines, which was their airline.
How we got here.
Yeah.
We flew.
Yeah. The Van Arsdale family, right? It was also in the Northeast.
Yes. It started out as a commuter airline for, it was Provincetown, Boston, PBD. And so it
was in Provincetown, was it really?
Yeah, Billy grew up in Provincetown.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, he has great stories and memories of that. Yeah, Billy is exactly your age.
Oh, is he really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh wow.
So and then when his father's like, well, what sense does it make to have, there's no business in the winter. Where am I going to take all these planes?
Right.
And so he kind of figured, came to Naples. I can't remember how, but he, the guy who had the lease at the Naples airport, joined forces with him. Mm-hmm. And then when that lease expired, the city had to find another lease, and there were a lot of people applying for it. And John put his name in, Van Arsdale, but he thought, well, I'm not this, and this. But he was on a plane getting ready to go somewhere, and they called and said, you've got the lease. So he's like, all right. So he moved all these DC-3s down here.
Oh, that's what they were.
He was a great pilot and a really good businessman.
He was also a pilot. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize, but doing the homework for this book, Lila Zook, who did that giant history in Naples, that green book that's 1,000 pages long, did a really good story about his credentials. And I mean, I can't remember them now because I did the homework so long ago, but it was very impressive. He had such, he was a truly, an big, long thing. But he had all his kids became pilot. I mean, they all knew how to fly, I think,
Well, so instrumental in having Naples be put on the map because they gave people a way to get here directly here right to Naples.
Exactly.
That was such a big deal.
I know that, and I've always hated. I mean, I know the Naples airport's very controversial right now, and always seems to be. But I always try to get. It's like, can't we get a little jumper flight again? Why can't?
Yeah, you remember that? Wasn't that great?
Oh my gosh! And when Paul was working in Key West a few times, he would drive down, and I was still working, so I would catch the 5 o'clock or 5:20 flight from Key West here to Key West for $50.
Yeah.
A lot of times I would be the only person on the plane, so it was kind of like my private plane.
Yeah,
and then I would come back at 8 in the morning on Monday. I would like, what
like
nice.
a 30-minute flight, 45-minute flight, or whatever it was.
And beautiful over the Gulf.
The whole way. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, and then also to fly to New Orleans, fly to Tampa.
It was great when we had flights like that. I remember that. Yeah.
So,
I didn't realize he was the pioneer that way. I didn't know he was a pilot, and just because there was also Peter Van Arsdale, right? Is that brother?
Son. He had 4 children, and the 2 boys sort of took over the business after he retired. And John has passed. Peter is living here, I think, again, and the sister lives up north. She moved up to be with her, grandkids and kids and stuff. And Billy is sort of a world explorer right now.
Yeah.
Does
he have a home base here, or just
he has a home base here. I think he's got someone living there, but he's in Mexico right now.
Okay.
One of those expat places that a lot of people are moving.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, true pioneer of the day. Yeah, the Van Arsdale. Because I think one of them was involved with Visitors Television.
That was Billy. Yeah.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yes, and he and Paul did a couple of trips down to the islands together. He did a lot of interesting things, So
Paul would fly with them down there?
I think so, yeah. And then they would do, because Paul knew the islands very well, and Visitors Television did a whole thing on the Caribbean. And, he'd go to and Paul loves Dominica, so that was sort of the Dominica, and then whatever other islands Billy wanted to do. If Paul was helpful, he would bring them with him,
I'd love to get a hold of those old videos.
I think we have, what do you call that? Zach will know when they're in a box like that, like a
VHS or beta?
Something like, I wouldn't know what to do with them, but you kind of have a hard time throwing them away because they do have fun things, but there must be some way to translate them.
I actually had some. My father had them. They were, because he did some segments on Visitors Television, so we had some old 80s ads, I guess they were, or infomercials is kind of how they did it, that style on Visitors Television from that era. In fact, one of them one of them might be, we might have it on YouTube, but I had them converted digitally so we could put them online and on YouTube to see them. So there's a way to do that. But if you ever...
if we find them, we're going through piles of, attics and everything because we're thinking we're selling our place. And so, we got to kind of purge a lot. So if we come across them, I'll bring them in.
Yeah, please. We'll have them converted and get them back to you, but at least get them digitally converted so we have a copy. So I'm sure
I don't even know what format it is exactly. I just know there's a box of them, that say Visitors Television.
How great is that? Oh my gosh, I love seeing that. So they have all the original St. George and the Dragon.
Now that was a great restaurant.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't go often, but I just loved it. Was everything now in restaurant world here is all, eat outside, go, it's so, we want to be seeing everybody. And going into that place, though, it was like a magic land. I mean, it just, there's so many nooks and crannies and all this great artifacts. And I just thought that was the coolest place.
It was special. Yeah. We used to go there and the Pewter Mug which was way north at the time, but.
And it's further north now.
Yeah, further. Yeah, they're still there, but yeah. So one of the ads that we have from that Visitor Television day is of the Pewter Mug, originally that big salad bar they always had, and those. But that's the one I remember. Oh, and who was just in the other day was Tony Ridgway.
Oh, good. You did him?
Yeah, well,
Good.
we're trying to get him on. We
Yeah.
haven't had him on yet. Lisa cuts his hair.
Oh, okay.
And he's been coming forever. And he was just here last week. And
Oh, that's funny.
we're bugging him to get him on here because he's one of the other legends.
Have you done Marisha?
No, but she would be great.
She would be
great. Yeah, we got to get Marisha on here. Yeah, that's a natural one that we should have. Yeah, because she's been here just as long.
She definitely has. And, talk about self-made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she stuck it out through all the
yeah.
chains and everything.
Yeah.
And she did a heck of a job, and that took
and
something.
I guess
yeah.
Jay, her son, is
He's doing real well.
Yeah. So
This was a nice article recently I saw about
that's
him.
right. Yeah. I saw him on the cover of one of the glossies.
Yeah.
So,
That's another great one. Yeah, about Tony, I was bugging about because I remember the Chef's Garden and Truffles. The restaurants,
Yes.
their original restaurants, Chef's Garden. And
Have you
Truffles.
been to the new bookstore?
Somebody was just telling me about
God.
that. I haven't. Tell me about that.
Fabulous.
Second floor down there.
Second floor where Truffles was.
Oh, okay, right there.
Right
yeah.
there, and it's some young gals. I mean, young compared to me. They're young mothers, and they just love books, and they have done an incredible job. I've been in 4 times, and
Really?
it's just a very full service bookstore, and they're delightful people, and the vibe in there is so good because I think people are hungry for a place like that.
Yeah.
It's
Is it like a coffee shop too, or
no, because they have Tony's right down.
Oh, right.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll do work. In fact, we're
Together.
hoping to have a book signing, there.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and but it's just a real breath of fresh air for down there. And the pub closed.
I know. Another staple down there.
Yeah. So it's been great to have, and I think they're going to do fine. I mean, everyone orders on on the internet now. A lot of times people do that, but I think people want to support.
Yeah, well,
Something
especially
like
books.
this.
I love bookstores. I get lost.
You
in it. I
got to
love
go.
it. Yeah.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, my wife had mentioned it. I think she saw it on TikTok. Actually, is where she saw
they're
it.
that generation that it served that some influencer will
Yeah,
pick it up.
good.
I
Yeah,
hope.
get the word out there about it. I got to get over there. I didn't.
Yeah,
Because I think a long time ago there might have been a bookstore
there was.
there,
There
right?
was 2 sisters, I think,
Yeah.
and it didn't seem like it lasted more than 5 years or something.
Yeah, I thought so, and I thought that's what my wife was talking about, but I hadn't been there in a while.
No, it's
But
been kind of empty for.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
has,
think
yeah.
anything's been there, but they're open till 7. 10 to
Great.
7, and I think Sundays till 5. So they're really going. They're putting all their energy and time into it, and did a beautiful job setting it up. I'm just, I just love going in it.
Yeah, I got to go down there,
Yeah.
and it gives me a reason to stop in it to
go
Ridgeway.
bug Tony.
Yeah, exactly. I got to get on him and Suki too. Yeah,
Yeah.
the 2 of them. 'Cause
Yeah.
Suki comes too. We got to get Suki on here too. But yeah, we're getting some good ones. Get a hold of the Van Arsdales, and boy, Lanny, I would love to get a hold of.
Oh,
He'd be
good.
great.
Well,
Lanny.
you know what? If he comes to town, I haven't talked to him in a little while, but he would definitely be a good one.
What a neat thing that
Yeah.
would be to get him on here.
Yeah.
He's such
Especially
a
he played
rich
at your
part of-
wedding, it sounds like.
Yeah, he did. I got old from 1990 video of those guys jamming. They were good
Was
too.
it at the beach club? Where'd y'all
No,
do-
we didn't have it there. We couldn't afford it. We had to pay for it. So
Yeah.
my first wife and I had to pay for that, and it was at the somewhere out east. But there weren't many places you could go. But there was somewhere out east that we went, and they rocked it. I mean, it was a party.
Yeah.
It was they really
Oh, that's so
did
cool.
a great show. I'll never forget that band though. I was so disappointed when they weren't playing together anymore.
Yeah.
Because they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minarich was a photographer, right?
Yes.
That's what he
and
did,
he had
right?
a place on 5th. When
Yeah.
I met him, he was on 5th
Yeah,
Avenue.
he was a real good photographer. He was the one. He was the
He
known
was. He
name.
did all
Yeah.
of the shoots for the
Yeah.
magazines and all that.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, I really knew nobody. I had 2 names people gave me when,
Yeah.
if you're moving to Naples, look somebody up.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked up Andy McLennan, and his mother was there, and so I got to know her. But when Andy came to town finally, he said, we hit it off, and I said, I'm doing a swim-a-thon. Do you know any businesses that would sponsor me? And he said, well, go ask Bill Minarich. And so I just walked in cold, you know, and I said, Andy said, and he did, you know, which I thought was so sweet. Here's like a completely unknown person. And I'm like, you know, 10 cents a lap or whatever it was. I don't know, $1. But I always had a soft spot for him. He was a really good guy.
Good soul.
Yeah. I know, another one. But
well, how did you get here?
I had met a English couple I didn't meet them talking to England, but they came to Louisiana because they dealt in antique prints and maps.
And that's where you were?
I was in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And I have a relative who I think is more a third cousin, but he was, you know, 80 when I was 30 kind of thing, but a real interesting man who owned the original plantation that his family had in Baton Rouge back when there were plantations. And he never sold it, never divided it. To this day, if you drive from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, you will pass what's called the Rural Life Museum. So he ended up, didn't have kids, didn't marry. He ended up taking, this is a real segue, but it's a good story. He would, when they tore down plantation homes along the river, which they did so they could build horrible petrochemical, you know, they now call it Cancer Alley instead of Plantation Alley.
Yeah.
But he would take the overseer's house or the church or just the little outbuildings, not the giant plantation homes, because that was but he would move the little houses to his property. Sometimes without permission, he'd just go grab them because he knew they were going to tear them down.
Yeah.
And so he ended up with this Rural Life Museum, and he ended up leaving it to LSU. And so now it's, you know, Windrush Plantation / Rural Life Museum. Anyway, I didn't know him. I went and just introduced myself once, and he was pretty shy. You know, he just some kid coming out of nowhere. And but we had a couple of visits, and he told me about this couple from England that dealt in antique prints and maps. And I said, I'd love to meet them. And he said, okay, well, next time they're here. But he gave me their address. And this is before, you know, email, fax, anything. You had to write a letter.
Yeah.
So I wrote them a letter and said, I'm going to be in England, you know, around this time. Could I look you up? You know, I just want to meet you. And I gave him I was staying with a girlfriend in London's house, and they had a hall phone, and she told me the number. And so anyway, they called me, which I was kind of shocked because I'd written the letter so long ago, I forgot almost. I was just on having this great London adventure, and they invited me out to their house, and I took a train out to their house, which is west of London, and it was so sweet. It was like this father, you know, mother and father he was the brains of the business, and a daughter and a son. And the son was very, very academic and knew all the stories of the maps. And the daughter was a colorist. You know, it's just a very Dickens kind of feeling. And anyway, they had bought a place in Marco because they had so much business in America. They wanted a base here, and they had kind of done their homework. They didn't want New England too cold. They loved being able to go just straight across the Atlantic. So Florida made sense. Didn't want Miami. Picked Marco. So anyway, during the course of our dinner, it turns out they needed someone to run the American business. They didn't have any Americans. Well, I volunteered, you know, having zero experience. But, you know, I thought, well, I can learn, you know. Yeah. So anyway, he said, okay, well, come tomorrow to London and let's really talk. So I did, and, they offered me a job, and that was in November. And then they said, come in January when we're there, and we'll show you the lay of the land. And so came. They brought me to the warehouses.
Which was on Marco, or was
no?
Here?
They were smart. They bought 2 warehouses in the industrial district. Bought them, which was brilliant. You know.
Yeah, sure.
These days they're worth. Right. So anyway. They said you can live in Marco or you can live in Naples, and I kind of looked around Marco and went, well, let's go look at Naples. You know,
and Marco
I just
didn't
really get Marco.
Remote. Right,
it was just too built up, and so I found
it was in that day. It was built.
It was, yeah. And they had a wonderful place at Ship's Landing, which is like the last one as far as you can go.
Okay.
And it was sort of it was like phase 1. They hadn't even finished building it, but anyway, I found a little rental on Palm Circle, a little cottage behind someone's house.
Where's that?
Palm Circle is near the hospital, kind of, back 4th Avenue, And it's a great little spot. I loved it. Anyway, so that's where I moved in the next month. And
That was 82?
That was 82.
Okay.
But it was very difficult because socially, my job was not in an office. I just would go to this warehouse every day. And I was 30 and everyone was like 100, it felt like,
And the warehouse was where?
Out in the industrial district,
Okay.
Off of Progress and
Oh,
out that way.
That's been that way for a long time.
Yeah. And so,
But everything stopped at Airport Road.
Yeah.
Then. That was the end.
And, but it was great. I could ride my bike, go to the swim in the morning. I mean, it was, a lot to love about it.
Yeah.
But I remember my mother came to visit in May, I guess. And she said, "This is really a pretty place. I'd been here 3 months." She goes, "But you don't have any friends." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not really missing them. I've had a very social life in Baton Rouge. I was kind of ready to get a break." But it was funny because she was having eye issues. And I had met another friend of Andy's who he was kind of a friend, but we didn't see much of each other. But he introduced me to what was it called? What was the White House, the thrift store for the hospital?
Oh, the White Elephant?
White Elephant.
Yes.
So we would do that about once every 3 weeks. We'd go to the White Elephant. And he told me about an acupuncturist in town who had helped him with something. So Mama, I said, "Why don't we go to an acupuncturist for your eyes?" Knowing nothing about acupuncture or eyes problems, but she was so trusting. I mean, we went, and it was Dr. Kurt Christ. Did you ever remember him?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Of course. Yeah, I went to school with his son.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was a character, and we walked into his office the first time, and I admired a painting. And I said, "I love that painting." And he goes, "Oh, it's a friend of mine." So fast forward a couple of visits, and Mama's like, I don't like getting stuck about needles anymore. But by then, we had this really fun interaction with Kurt Christ and his wife and his mother. They all were working there. And he invited me. He said, "I'm having a going-away party for that artist you like." And I said, "Oh." And he goes, "You're both invited." And it was a daytime party. And so it was a Sunday, and Mama didn't want to go. So I said, "Well, Mama, it's the first thing I've been invited to. I'm going." And as you pointed out, I don't have any friends. So anyway, I walk in at like 11 o'clock, and his wife is, I swear to God, in curlers beating the dip and saying, "I wish you'd tell me when you're inviting people." And I was like, "Ooh," and I'm in my party dress, ready to have a little time. So I stayed for a couple hours, had a great time, and forgot it was for an art. I was a party, I was like, that's what and I truly forgot it was for somebody. And I actually thought it would be an old man anyway, because, the doctor was a little older. Turns out I'm walking to my car. Paul pulls up and gets out of his car with another woman, and they do this. So we just have this very brief chat, and it was just funny. It was like 5 minutes, but we had all this stuff in common. There's so much stuff.
This is the first time
we met.
Yeah.
And we had so much in common that apparently I carded him because I didn't believe we had the same birthday after being told we had the same this. But anyway, back then, I didn't give him a number. He didn't give me a number. It was no emails. It was no nothing.
Yeah.
It was just like, "Hi, bye, see you later."
Yeah.
And I kind of knew that he lived off North Lake, and I knew he was an artist, and I knew he was from New England. That was, but it wasn't until that crazy night with the plane crash that we saw each other again, which was 6 months later.
Oh my gosh.
I guess I thought it was a small enough town that you'd run into each other, but I don't think we would have. I mean, it was just, there was, I think people had their friends and you hung out with them. And if you weren't in that little friendship group, you didn't see people. So it was shocking to me that I met my husband here because I just didn't see that potential for, and I was kind of old anyway for getting married. I think everyone had given up on me by then. So,
well, in the times of people getting married, like out of high school almost,
exactly.
That was the thing to do, like right away. Yeah.
So, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think
And here you are in Naples, where it didn't seem like there were a lot of eligible bachelors anyway at the time, especially still people say that about Naples.
Well, I have, like you say, I have so many wonderful women friends that, I wish I could find somebody, but I don't know where they are, if they are. The bookstore.
That's the place, yeah.
That's where I'm going to tell people to hang out.
I think that's where Mitch, if he didn't meet one of our guests over the course of the year who I had the privilege of meeting and interviewing, who's newer in town, probably the last 10 or 15 years, which is newer now.
Yes.
I don't know if he might have met her there, I think. I think we talked about his meeting story. Just reminded me, it wasn't a bookstore, it was a coffee shop. It was Badass. Is Badass Coffee still downtown?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where it was. I'm pretty sure that's where if I have this wrong, Mitch, you have to let me know, but I think they met there. If they didn't, that's sort of his hangout where he meets people.
That is a good place to meet people, actually, really. But so many people are on devices now, it's hard.
Exactly.
Because you feel like you're interrupting if you say anything,
Yeah, I know.
But,
we were talking about how we teach the younger generation of people that we hire just to be able to communicate, without texting to somebody. That's their form of communication, but being able to talk to people is a new skill now.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, do you remember one of the saddest things I saw was like a bunch of people at a wedding. And, when you have a wedding, you invite your friends from everywhere.
Yeah.
And your bridesmaids and don't know the bride. That's where you get to know them.
Yeah.
And everyone's sitting there like next to each other, but not talking to each other.
Yeah. Even out on dates. There's still there. Yeah. The other day we were doing these new luxury services that we call them. We're implementing them throughout the business, and I experienced one of the Lux services, which was this. It's called a hair repair treatment, which I know I don't have any hair. They were hoping that it'll repair my brain, I guess. Anyways, it's like a scalp massage and a these gloves on with these moisturizer and warm gloves, and they were massaging my hands and massaging my neck, but I had to take my glasses off and put the phone away.
Yeah.
And just to be away from the phone for 10 minutes was such a treat.
Yeah.
It was just because you get so used to it, or you're just always responding to something. There's always something going on. But to have that 10 minutes of just away from
You got to give yourself that, because no one else will.
I know. And it just becomes such a habit, and then the expectation is there, and I talk about that all the time, but I feel myself back in it again.
Because you're in business.
Right.
I mean, we're so analog. I mean, Paul still doesn't get on a computer. And a friend of his who is an artist got very upset with him the other day because he said, "You don't text back." And I said, "If you want to talk to him, call him."
Call him. Yeah.
And he kept writing me and going, "But he just won't." I said, "No, if you want to talk to him, call him. I'm sorry, I know it's inconvenient maybe for you, but it's just he just doesn't do it."
Yeah,
and I applaud him for that, even though it makes my life twice, because I'm catching all of his stuff. But it's just for somebody in the creative world, it's just
100%. Yeah, because it takes you away. That one beep. I'll be talking to people sometimes, and their phone or their watch will beep.
Yeah,
and I'll see them look.
They can't help it.
They can't. It's automatic. And even though I know they're still with me, I can see they're not with me. Like they saw something that took them away. And I know how it works because I've done the same thing.
Yes.
It takes me away from the moment, and I'm somewhere else in my head. I'm still doing the polite thing, whatever, but I'm gone. It robs you of the moment.
Oh my gosh, I remember the first time, and it was a long time ago. It was but somebody that was sort of an early cell phone user, and I didn't really. They had dinner with us, and I remember how insulted I got when we're sitting here having a conversation at a dinner table, and he's looking down at his phone. I wanted to grab it and throw it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I feel bad for moms in a way now that are raising their young kids, because when they go on a date or they go anywhere, I mean, I guess it's good because they know their kids are always okay. But back in the day, mom and dad went on a date. The babysitter had to call the restaurant that they were at to track them down if there was an emergency. Yeah. And usually there's not an emergency, so there's nothing that urgent, so that mom and dad can go have some peace. Or while mom's at work, she's not getting bugged about where the peanut butter is at home.
It's so hard for people to unplug now, but once they do, it's such a benefit.
Well, I admire that about you both. I admire that about Paul. I love that he's old school like
he
that.
definitely is. And, I think we miss, I'm sure, like I hear what people are doing, just finding out about things that are going on that would be important. But eventually people tell us it's like, oh, there's a, march you might want to go to or this,
Yeah.
So, but there's so much input now anyway.
I know.
That I don't really need more. It's
it's
like
hard
I can't
to keep up with
up
it all. It's what it becomes. I know.
Yeah.
So many ways to be contacted now, and Messenger, text
Yeah.
message, and email, and then WhatsApp, and
I know.
Signal, and then Instagram, and then TikTok, and you can get messages on all those.
I know it.
Yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes.
It
the whole
really
way
is,
it is.
and enough.
Yeah.
I'm reading a really good book right now that I relate to a lot. The woman is about my age, and and she is a letter writer. I mean, the whole book is letters, the entire book, and they tell you whether it's to her or from her, and what date, and who it addressed. They actually do the whole address every time, and it's wonderful because it's called The Correspondent, and I'm so. If you ever want to listen, it's a great listen because usually books on tape they'll have like read by one person.
I like that.
This one is read by 20 people because she wants every character who is in that book to have their own voice.
Yeah.
And they do, and you recognize them after a while. You're like, oh, that's the sister, that's the this, that's the this.
Yeah.
But
The Correspondent.
the correspondent.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Virginia.
Zach, will you put that on my list, please?
I think it's Virginia Egan, but do it as an audio.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
all.
can.
Mostly what I do anyway.
Do you?
Yeah. I like books, but usually it's great for me in
You
the car.
don't have time for so much.
No, I don't.
And driving, it's a great way to.
Great. I love it. Yeah.
Are you back and forth between all the
Yeah.
two?
Yeah. In fact, today I was up in Bonita at the Promenade, so that's a perfect opportunity if you got 30 minutes of a book in.
So y'all have Promenade place
Bonita,
there, and Venetian still.
Yep, Venetian still. Yeah.
Okay.
Promenade. I remember. Well, Promenade's going on. So that up in '97, which at the time, going north of Bonita Beach Road was a big deal. It was like you're going to Lee County. That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Wasn't Bonita Bay and all that happening
No.
at the time, and that was a big deal. But that area is, everywhere is crazy right now.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
It's all going
Yeah,
nuts.
we haven't. It is. I kind of think twice. I used to have appointments up in Fort Myers, and I'm like, I wouldn't, unless I really had to drive up that way.
Yeah,
But,
don't go.
Yeah.
I was talking to this investment advisor the other day, a friend of mine who was a client over at the village, and he said, I got clients who are millionaires moving here who can't move here. They got $8 million, and if they buy a place, it's $5 million, and then what do they got left? They can't, it's what has become of Naples. It's hard to move here.
So he's saying that they spend all their money on.
They can't. They're having to go to Punta Gorda or north now because the people who retire here with a lot of. Well, it sounds like a lot, but here it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah,
$8 million is not a ton here because half your wealth will be tied up in the house. In the city anyway. The city's just it's.
Wow.
Big.
Yeah.
That was his take on it anyway. I'm sure you can get for less than that, but the average, like a decent home that they're looking at. So a lot of them are going north, further north.
You think that's going to last for a long time?
I don't think it never. I've never seen it not. It's in our whole lives. It's always gone up.
Yeah.
It's never gone any other way.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a little blip in '07 but it all came right back.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going. It's not like
I don't know. If we'd have had a hit like Fort Myers Beach or Sanibel had, or if we get one like that, I don't know what that'll, at some point, and I do, and just, I do kind of worry about the fragility of the shopping districts downtown. You know? I mean, the rents keep going high.
Oh my
People
gosh,
have to
I know.
leave,
There's only people who can afford it. The chains that are coming
That's
in now
what I'm saying.
with the deep pockets. That really broke my heart with my wife and I this summer. She went to medical school in Grand Cayman, and we'd like to go back and visit, but we haven't been back since COVID. And 2019 was the last year we went, and we went this year. And all of our favorite charming places are gone because of COVID. They were closed for 2 years, 24 months, where they were shut down.
And that just
put all the businesses out. And then what happened was all the money came in. A lot of money came in and bought up all these old properties, and they're just raising them and building these 30 million euro condos right on the beach. 30 million euros, not even dollars, which is a lot, 20% more. everywhere there. So it was really disappointing to see because we loved it there. You know, I love St. Bart's too, which was just great. But St. Bart's has kept the charm either way. You know, even though they were shut down, it's expensive as all ever. But I think Grand Cayman is just not what it was. You know, as far as an island goes, because of the money that's moved in and just taken over all the, like you talked about, the small shops, the small
it's
boutiques.
kind of everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even Dominica, which is the nature island, you know, and I finally got to go last year. And the Chinese have come in, and it's been like they're putting in a mega jet port. I mean, you know, it's just the people are still very poor, you know, that live there. Yeah. But I guess they're just going to build themselves big. I don't know what they're going to do, but it felt very disjointed as far as, you know, kind of messing up the nature, yet they're going to pull in people. And
similar to what we saw in Cayman too. You know, the same thing where you have the very, very poor and then the extreme wealth and two sides of it. You know, I love Naples is still. It's hard for me to go anywhere from Naples. I love Naples so much. It's so special here. It's so beautiful. And Paul has captured it. You both have captured the charm of our area so well. And I know he was talking about this book last year that you've been working on for a while now. And it's exciting.
It is very exciting. It's I guess when we had the galleries, you know, sometimes people would come in and say, "Is there a book about Naples?" And I'd go, "Well, you know, I don't think I can't think of one that really tells you, you know, kind of the story without." And then when Lila came out with that giant book, it's very factual, and I mean, it's got so much information, but it's not an easy one to deal with because it's mostly words. Yeah. And ours is mostly pictures. Yeah. So it's a lot more fun, you know. Yes. I hope it's as factual. I hope it's as accurate. But, you know, I'm not a historian by nature. I just like history, but, you know.
But your background is?
My background, I went to school and graduated in anthropology.
Anthropology.
So I do love stories, and I love people talking.
So that is the study of people?
Of human, study man. And but I wasn't a very serious student. You know, I did get work right out of, you know, school doing in that field, which was wonderful. And, you know, just had to work for a place called Coastal Environments, which in Baton Rouge, which is still there, and was doing a lot of work with coastal environments. I mean, we had my first job was doing a survey of the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway from Texas to Florida. And can you imagine every Monday morning I'd get in a boat with this guy and we would just ride on the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway and then pick it up the next Monday and pick it up. I mean, it was amazing.
Isn't that interesting? Because didn't Paul have a similar experience on boats?
He kind of did, yeah. He started with the, he was on a boat out of Woods Hole and worked with the Smithsonian. So, he was doing, you know, that kind of thing. I was doing more, I wasn't doing... Well, he wasn't either. He was a deckhand. We were both just doing whatever we were told to do.
But on boats in different parts
of in different parts of the world,
That's
no,
amazing.
as it turned out, once we got finally together, even beyond that first time where I thought this is too many crazy coincidences, we found so many times where we had almost, like we probably passed each other like this. We were at the same concert. We were at the same, the gospel tent on different, we figured have you ever been to the New Orleans Jazz Fest?
I haven't, no.
Okay, well, it's a 10-day extravaganza of great music. And there's
they're known for the music.
It's amazing. And it goes from the last Thursday of April to the first Sunday of May. So it's and every day there's stuff. And there's the venues, but the main venue is at the fairgrounds, and they'll have 6 stages with just first-class music in all of them, and it just changes every 40 minutes or something. But they have a gospel tent, and the gospel tent is the most soulful place ever. I mean, it's just like, you know, gospel groups that just get up there. Anyway, we figured that on the first Sunday of May in 1981, we were both in the gospel tent. I said, "Where were you sitting?" And I said, "If you're facing the stage," he said, "if you're facing the stage, I was on the left." And I said, "I was on the right in the front row."
Oh, my gosh.
So we were within each other's aura.
Destined to be together.
Yeah.
That's
and
something.
there was like 3 or 4 other ones. I'm like, oh, my God, we were there. And, of course, one of the things we realized when we first met was we had both lived in the same rooming house in this little place, little Rocky Neck, Massachusetts, 3 years apart. And it's very obscure. And I was not supposed to be there. I had rented a house in Marblehead. I sublet it. And then when I got there, I was in my little Volkswagen, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, the owner needs it. She had a premature baby and she wants to be here all summer." I'm like, "Okay, now what?" And I swear, I just got in my car. I didn't even have a map. I just drove. And I ended up just stopping in front of this little store, and I went in and asked, "Is there any place that I could rent around here?" And she said, "Try that." So I went and I got a room, and then when Paul and I met, he's like, "I lived there."
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I love those stories.
Yeah,
just so many.
And then that you'd meet up in Naples of all places, which was nothing.
I
man.
know. I know
it.
And it was,
and have all that same interests together. That's what a beautiful story.
Well, it's been very lucky for me, because I really don't know. Just being able to stay in our house has been a wonderful story, because we love it. But do you remember Indy Earle? She bought it from our landlord, and we thought we were there forever as renters, and then she sold it like beneath us, and we both were like, "What?" And so we tried to find another place to live, and it was like impossible. Even then, this is the 80s. It was like, "Ooh, this is expensive. You're living here."
Yeah.
But anyway, long story, that deal fell through, and we put together a partnership, and so we were able to do it. But it's a great place. You saw 4 cottages, and so many interesting people have come through there. A lot of rascals, a lot of renegades, a lot of smart people, and it's been a real magnet for
for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't seen, it's what Naples was. I mean, it really is just so charming. So there's something special about it. When I just being on the property and walking around there was, I just felt like I had been taken back in time. It's so charming. It's just so charming. It's just a really, it's so the way it was.
Well, and we're so challenged to figure out, like, are we just the crazy people that want to still don't mind living like pioneer? I mean, it is very primitive on a certain level,
Yeah.
I hadn't been upgraded with all the things people would do, but it's like there's just something about it that people don't look for it, but I think when they feel it and when they sense it and when they come in, they're like, "Oh, this is something else."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it to me, it didn't seem old. It seemed like I equate it to. We went to Yosepa Island a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And stayed there. And
at the inn or in a house?
I think, but were we in one of the cottages off to the side?
Oh, yeah. Those are wonderful on the Pink Path, probably.
Yes. And that has held its old charm, to the way it was. It seems like, wasn't it the Collier? I don't know who built it.
It was Collier's home. He bought the inn.
Is that right?
Yeah. He fixed it up. And that it's funny you bring it up, because I hadn't been in probably 4 or 5 years with Lanny and Holly's last time we were there. And, they have such a different business plan. You have to, you can't just show up. You know, it's very, and since Garb Beckstead died about 3 or 4 years ago, and the family has had it. And then they just weren't, he was the visionary. He had the figured out. And I don't think his children were that, they just wasn't making it work quite like he did. So apparently a bunch of islanders have bought it. They've coalesced. There's like 10 people or 13 from the island who saw it needed help because it got hit by the hurricane because it's so high, but they got mashed up.
Yeah.
And the inn, so it needs redoing, and a few other things. A lot of infrastructure needs redoing.
Yeah.
So it just happened because I contacted the one lady we knew there to see if she would sponsor us to come over. I had a friend I wanted to bring over. And she said, "Well, it's a mess right now. Everything's under construction, and the Islanders are trying to buy it." So,
great.
I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I think the family will be able to feel good about the people who have such a vested interest in it are going to be in charge.
Just felt like going back in time, even to the fact that in the rooms. So we just went a couple years ago. There was a phone book in the room, which I thought was awesome because it was from like 2000. It was with the old yellow page, the red book, the red Sprint or whatever. Sprint book or whatever it was. big, thick
I
yellow
know
pages.
those
and
are
everything.
really just anachronistic, aren't they? Now no one uses a phone.
No, they don't exist. When I saw it, I was excited. This is a piece of history here. This is
Do
amazing.
you remember the little one they had of Naples downtown?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's a little tiny one.
I think I still have that.
That would be
because,
great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. For a while I kept it because Pete had people's addresses that I might want to send an invitation to, and now I think everyone's gone that were in it, but it's just so cute, and had their, address and phone number.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and you knew where they lived by their prefix. You knew if they were 261, 262, 263, they were usually downtown in the city.
Yeah.
If they were 597 or 566, they were North Naples. 455 was Golden Gate.
Yeah.
774 was East Naples.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that, to see a phone book is kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, tell me more about your book, because I'm excited for it, because I can't wait to get them in the salons and for people to be a taste
excited.
of it.
Okay, it's 240 pages.
Mm-hmm.
It is lots of color pictures, a lot of vintage photographs. We've connected with this woman in town who has collected postcards of Naples for years. She's been a great source. And so we have that, and we have... I kind of hate to show you, but I'll show you just one or two pictures of it, because this is not what it's going to look like. I sent Zach, the cover is going to look something like this, but this was an early rendition, and
Okay,
this
great.
isn't as big. I just glued this on the top of this in the actual book. But that's Port
So you
Royal
have
Club. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the Port,
Yeah.
the original, yeah.
So that's not going to look like that
that's it there.
anymore.
No, it's
that's
not.
the old beach club. Yeah. In fact, we walked down. Have you seen what? Wow. it's so
No, I
giant.
haven't gone there. I can only imagine.
You can. I mean, it's giant. But there's one picture in here I especially wanted to show you because you'll get a kick out of it. Let me see if I got this upside down. This is just but this will give you kind of a visual of what it's going to look like. The different. I love this picture. This is Josie Billy and Frank Brown that grew up in Immokalee. They were best friends. And of course I've written. But you can see how little writing. There's not a lot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we try to get the capsule of like, okay, this is what it's about. That's what that's about. But he was a Miccosukee. He was Frank Brown. His father had the trading post. So
Okay.
they were at each other's houses a lot. And
Oh,
he
wow.
became like an incredible Everglades hunter and knew all the trails. And he was like knew the Everglades better than anybody. He became like a chief and learned to speak English in their house.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm trying that small wood store.
A Miccosukee, because we were interviewing Popeye. I call him Popeye. I don't remember. Yeah, William Osceola. I call him
yeah,
Popeye.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it gave me so much history about.
Oh, they would be
The
great to do.
Miccosukes.
Yeah, and this is of course Indian Day at the Smallwood store. They didn't do that.
Smallwood store.
After
Oh, my gosh.
90s, but Paul painted that every time.
This is Paul's work?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
All the paintings except for a few of them are Paul's. Of course, Baron Collier. So there's
Baron,
some black
yeah.
and whites. This is one of my favorite. I have to just read you this because it's short. This was one of the Haldemans. They had the Haldeman house down, and he was Walter Haldeman. If it weren't for him, I don't know what had happened to Naples. He really kept it alive after all the other investors bailed out. He bought the whole place, and so his children kind of considered it their little, their home. But they lived in Kentucky, and she said, we could not reach it every season, but when we did, there it was, miraculously enough, the little group of sun-drenched cottages on the graceful, vari-hued beach, the pier reaching out a welcoming hand, fish jumping, pelicans diving, food for the gods waiting at the hotel. Our hearts swelled with thanksgiving for it. Isn't that beautiful?
How beautiful is
Florence
that?
Haldeman
Yeah. Oh, I
Price.
love that.
Yeah. So I was so glad. That was actually, I took that out of Doris Reynolds' book, The Peacocks Were Roasted book. Oh, you'll like this. This is Swan Court. Do you remember Swan Court?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, right. Yeah, of
So
course.
That was
Oh, my gosh.
Out of friends, but I'm looking for a particular. Like I say, I still kind of don't find my way around here as easily as I should because I've been working on it so long. But
I'm so glad you've done this. I'm
It's
so
gonna be
glad.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
this is great.
it's really fun. Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, I think maybe it's back. Oh, this is the Marco. These gals. Oh my God! I didn't really know much about the Olds family. They're Marco. Their parents moved to Marco as both doctors from Philadelphia, I think.
Really?
And, because there weren't that many sick people here,
Yeah.
there weren't that many people,
Yeah.
they started growing fruit. And their mother, was very educated. So here they are, these girls, there's like hunting, bobcats and catching fish and growing mangoes. But she gave them, like, if I can read it, it's like she wanted them, she said, okay, their mother saw to it they received a broad education teaching Latin, German, French, Spanish, Hebrew, Greek, math, geography, grammar, and current events. They also practiced music an hour a day in preparation for weekly concerts, and Sundays were devoted to spiritual readings. I mean, that
Wow.
was not the typical Marco person.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
all those
pretty,
languages too.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, they were just
medicine,
amazing.
music, and mangoes.
I
That
know,
page is
isn't that
called.
great?
Okay.
That's the
Snuck in, of course.
Yeah, but I am. Oh, and there's the Old Naples. Oh, here's
you
the
got
John
PBA.
Van Arsdale.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he
How
was
great
really
is this?
and that's a PBA, playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old DC-3s.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that used to fly over with the mosquito spray. The DC-3s.
Yes, I remember
spray
that.
for mosquitoes, right?
Yeah. And then this is I love this picture of Grace Truesdale. I don't know if you remember her, but she was like an early realtor. But this is making me feel.
Oh, Doris Reynolds.
Yeah. She would have been a great interview if you'd have had her
Yeah,
around.
yeah. She wrote about everything here.
She did. She was the historian.
Yeah.
So that's our, one of our little cottages.
Yeah.
And then this is one of the few paintings that Paul didn't do. This is Richard Siegelman's painting of me
Okay.
and Paul on the beach. And I love this. This is, you can find this real big, but that's what Naples looked like in the, back in the 60s or something. But the picture I wanted to show you, I think that must be earlier on. But anyway, you gotta get the picture of what it's gonna be like. It'll be an interesting, fun read, and it'll be a fun thing just to kind of have around. I think.
We need it. We so need it. It's so
and I
great.
think you can just, you can just pick it up and put it down, and learn one thing, and but. Trying to think where the key wading part is.
Oh, you got some key wading in there. Yeah.
This is horrible that I can't figure out where anything is because I don't think she's in the. Maybe she is.
Paul had some good stories about key wading.
Yeah. So we did try. Oh, here. Yeah. But this is not a picture you'd seen of Laverne Gaynor before. Isn't that fun? Her parents, Lester Norris and his wife, and
Is this
Laverne.
her?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful.
Isn't that a great picture?
Oh, you gotta get this in there, Zach. You've got to. Oh, I love this.
This is and then the only
Look
reason
at
I got
her.
it was because
oh my gosh,
the people that were taking care of Laverne's effects, her whatever when she died. I asked them if they had any photographs that there's her typical ones which you've seen, but
yeah,
she let me go through her stack of photographs,
what
and I
a
saw
great
that, and I'm like,
shot.
and I think they're in New York,
Oh my gosh,
and that's George Gaynor. Look how young, It's
Jeez.
just So anyway.
Tracy, my sister Lisa, you got to see this. This is so great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. And then, of course,
Beautiful.
the Caribbean, we had a big
Oh
thing
yeah,
on
the zoo.
Yeah.
The original Caribbean Gardens.
And then Paul painted this. You remember Masamba? He just died on the zoo
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So,
and
then the last section after is called Stewards and Spirits and Stewards, and that one is dedicated to all of the environmental groups that have been working. I've been very involved with Audubon of the Western Everglades for 40 years. So I made sure they got in.
Yeah, great.
And then the Conservancy and Corkscrew Swamp and Clyde Butcher.
Oh yeah, Clyde. Love
yeah.
him too.
And little Marco, there's Clyde, and then Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So,
this has all the souls of Naples in it. This is great.
Yeah, it was really, we had a fabulous book designer, Donna Murphy, who, is done an incredible job. She did so much more than just design a book. She really put her heart into it. And so she was really so instrumental in getting a lot of the pictures and getting ideas and helping name the, she helped a lot with the verbiage and stuff. And she's right now on press up in the Boston area. I kind of insisted we print in America, which I don't know if that was in the long run a good idea. But and this is the Rod and Gun Club. Paul's painting in that.
Yeah.
With some of the classic boats, the Birdie Lee, which is the starter boat, the Pilar, Hemingway's boat, and the Ballyhoo, which was the Kelly family, Kelly's
Fish House,
boat.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So sorry about the phone. I forgot to mute it.
Yeah, no problem. Is it okay? Do you have to check
yeah,
it?
that's fine. It's probably spam.
Okay. I get enough of those. Yeah.
Isn't that awful? That's our business line, because we don't have a landline now. So I have a designated thing, and it's ridiculous how many of them are.
Oh yeah.
Spam.
It's crazy, the number. Yeah, they're just never ending.
Yeah.
And they're getting so good at spoofing everything. Sometimes it shows up as like a real business or something.
I know
you don't know the difference.
Yeah. These poor people that are hired. I had one yesterday, and Paul already fell for this one, so I was sort of, did you get your new Social Security card? Have you gotten that one yet?
No, I didn't hear about that one.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And so, I'm like, no one expects to get a new one. You're like, well, what's wrong with the O? And
You're right.
And, they went, and I just told them, I said, I'm pretty sure this is like, this is a spam thing, and I really don't want to talk right now. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You don't want to be rude, but, it's like, who has time for
Right.
that?
I mean, sometimes you have to be almost like, it's, what are you going to do? Like they're so good at getting people in a bad way.
I know it. And
we just had somebody we work with, the bank called, he thought it was the bank that called and said, we need to secure your account. There's been something off with it. We're going to move it over here, and asked him to verify the account number and...
red flag.
They took all their money.
Oh,
now,
my
luckily,
God.
they got it all back, but they were good. The way they spoofed the number, the way they had information about them, they're getting good. They're getting good. You got to
And
be
now
careful.
they can imitate voices. So
Voices, right, with AI.
You
They could do the exact voice. That's so scary. I mean, the technology in some regards is great, but when it's used in that way, it's not good for us.
I know. I was kind of glad that I was able to get through the writing of the book, without even knowing about AI. Because like now everyone's like, oh, you just could go to AI and
it'll do it all for you.
It would have been maybe tempting, but I don't think so. I think in general I'm proud that it's like I got away with
it was pre-AI. And let people know now that it's a selling point.
Yes.
I think it was done by a real human.
I know it. So I know Donna proved. I know when she was looking at it, she would use AI to like make sure, and it was good she did. Or got a couple of dates wrong, but
it's good for that. Right, to verify, or if there's a grammatical issue with something,
so
which would be a problem for me, probably not for you. But I need all the help I can get that way.
Oh God!
So when's it? What's the target date?
Well, today was the last. She was on press yesterday, and I think we have about a month.
Okay.
And they said that it'll probably be kind of Thanksgiving week, which isn't ideal. So I've already moved twice our launch thing, and now what I think we're going to do is just have an open house, at our house, and then a couple of places are giving us, like the bookstore will give us a book signing. Palm Cottage is going to give us a book signing. We were going to do the launch there, which would have been fun, but the time once the delay in the printing happened, it pushed into their Christmas season. If it would have been November, it would have been fine. No, December isn't so good for them.
Okay.
So
you think the copies will be ready? What's the target?
I think probably early December.
Early December.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
So,
well, will we be able to get some to have in the sun, but also to sell if people want to buy them?
I'd love to get us some. I'll bring one over when they're done, and you can tell me what you want to do with them.
That's great. I would love that, because that's the heart and soul of Naples. I mean,
it'll fill a gap, I think. I think there's really, like I said, when people would come in and ask me, I'd think, where would I send them? I don't really couldn't picture something. There's a lot of magazines that have done pretty pictures of stuff, but as far as just an actual volume you can pick up, I couldn't.
No, it's captured the soul. It's
it was. I tell you, Paul's first book, which I think he gave y'all, or hopefully.
Yes.
That Donna worked on that too. That was so much fun for us. We had a great time, and it was it was like cutting butter. Nothing didn't. This has been like giving birth to an elephant. It was so hard. It was like, and we got interrupted by hurricanes. We got interrupted.
That's right. You told me that.
All of them. My reference got drowned, and then we switched our whole format, and it just wasn't as easy as I thought it might be, but I'd never written a book, so I
Yeah.
didn't have really very reasonable expectations anyway.
Yeah.
But if I did it again, I think if it would be, I did during the course of it take myself away for a week to St. Augustine and just worked. And it was the best way to do it. Coming back here, there's so many distractions. I mean,
Yeah.
And,
Well, when you're home, you're
it's
just
impossible.
always.
And, we're running a business out of the house. And, it's just, so I think, I would advise anybody that's serious if they can do it, or else just, I don't do well getting up real early and trying to work like at 4 in the morning.
Well, that's what writers would do anyway. Like they would go to this secluded house somewhere and just be away from everything.
Exactly.
And that's when they could write.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to. You can't be. You got to let your mind.
Most series writers, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
It's just like isolate themselves. And but it was nice to be able to access libraries and Paul has kept, which is part of why it's going to take us forever to move. Every magazine that ever, every Gulf Shore.
Thank God, though. He has all that.
What are we going to do with it, though?
Yeah,
It's like maybe digitize them. I don't know. But it is something that even libraries, I don't think, want old books. I mean,
I know. We have our own share of what I got from my dad of articles and books, and they're just in boxes. But it's so nice every now and then to go through those. But what do you do with them? But someday someone will want those and, appreciate them. Yeah. It's such a good archive of
and it's
what
funny,
happened
somebody
here.
just gave me, because they came across it and didn't know what to do with it, the whatever that magazine was that had Eva on the front.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
Eva was on the front of that,
she was on the front, I'll bring
What
it if I
was
can
that?
find
Yes.
it. Yeah, what was it? It wasn't Gulf Shore Life, I think.
Oh,
it was,
I remember it now. Yeah, it was big.
It was a tall magazine.
Color. Yeah, what was that? I don't remember the name, but I remember I could see her face on there.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful woman. Oh,
so
my
she
gosh.
died early, I think. Did she?
No, I think she's. So I just heard she's around.
Oh,
like
really?
not here, but she's alive still.
Oh,
Somebody.
gosh, who am I
was
confusing
just telling
her
me
with?
that. She moved. I don't remember who I was just talking to, but it wasn't that long ago that they were talking about. They had seen a picture of her or had spoken to her in recent years. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
which
so
I was
glad.
surprised.
I thought I'd missed her totally.
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, I'd heard anything about her forever, and just recently she came up in a discussion and by somebody else who was local. But you brought up so many great names of people that I just am so happy to hear about that I have to dig up and get them on here to capture the souls.
No,
of more
there's
of these people.
definitely. I haven't seen Marisha in a while, but she's still around, so she would be an interesting
another
one.
absolute legend. Yeah. So
yeah.
many of them.
And especially so related to where your family.
She was there right there with Carlo. She'll have stories about Carlo Paterno. Yeah, Carlo had his at the time they were called secretaries. Josephine was she was his protector. She was a tough woman. Where's the rent check? She took care of Carlo, Josephine, and the two of them. But so I'm sure Marisha will have some stories.
Oh,
about
I'll
them
bet
too.
she would. Yeah, no, I'm glad I met him once or twice because I have a definitely memory of him. He was a pretty forceful kind of guy.
Big nose Italian, Carlo Paterno.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
He was helped us in many ways.
Yeah.
I have some fun questions that I want to ask you because we got to do this again because I love talking to you. I love getting the soul of the community. You have so much rich
feel like
history
I'm not,
of it.
I feel like I'm a latecomer compared to Paul and people that were here in the 60s and 70s.
Well, there's different eras of it. Some people now are here 10 years and they think, I'm in Neapolitan. Like 10 years is nothing here. It's even 20. It's not that much here. A lot has happened. Every 5 years, so much happens. I mean, literally, sometimes if I don't go to 3rd Street for a few months and then I go down, I'm like, what happened? I haven't been down in a while.
Well, the hotel will be
that's
surprised to
shock me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are what I call the fun zone questions. Do you have a hidden talent that would surprise people?
I don't think I have a hidden talent. I think cooking is my talent, but it's not very hidden.
Yeah, well, it was hidden from me. I didn't know that. What do you cook?
Yeah. Well, I'm very oriented towards healthy stuff. I stopped eating meat when I was 18, so
It wasn't even a fad then. You were ahead of the fad.
I had just read a book. Actually, that's why I love libraries. I just went to my little hometown, Central Louisiana library, and read I think it was a complete illustrated book of yoga I brought home, and they talked in the first chapter about the animals, like what an animal goes through when they're as done. It was like, you know, it was just like, well, why would I eat, that?
Yeah.
Just talking about how they're the hormones in their body when they're about to be, excuse me, you can bleep this out, but this was like what got me was like what goes through them is these fear hormones, and that's what you're eating when you have a slaughtered animal. So I was like, ooh. And then my first job after that was in a steakhouse, which I like, that pushed me over the edge. I was like, you get sick of smelling it and the whole thing, So I tend to cook vegetarian fish. I do eat fish. I love shrimp. I'm from Louisiana, so like most of my big dishes are shrimp dishes. And
well, I was going to ask you about that because that Cajun, the whole Louisiana. I don't know if you know Dr. Spano or Joe Spano, John Valerie Spano, because he's from Louisiana.
He is,
too.
yeah.
He's the only other person I know from there. But
you know Elizabeth Swanson? She grew up in New Orleans.
Oh, did she?
And Cuba. She's got Cuba and a big Cuba connection. And
now that was Swanson Foods, yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And wine.
And wine. Yeah. Swanson, TV dinner Swanson.
Oh, now if you could interview her, oh my God. Well, first of all, she is like the most effusive personality I've ever met in my life.
Is that right? My mother knew her. I didn't know her
well. She's nobody like her.
Really?
I'm telling you. Yeah, she is something else. I just loved being around
here?
her. They have a house still. They got flooded twice, but they have mostly in California,
Okay.
They have a house here, and then they love when they're here. They often go to their house in Everglades City.
Really?
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many places
are. Oh my gosh!
People from here,
Yeah. That's another
City.
name we got to put on our list. Elizabeth Swanson.
If you could get her, she would just entertain. I mean, she just really. I just sort of am amazed by her.
So she's Louisiana. Too.
She's Louisiana.
Another one from
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. No,
Dr. Spano would cook. My favorite of all Lifetime meals he's such a good cook.
Is he?
Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's still practicing.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I don't think he's 85-ish, 6, 7, 87. I don't know how old he is. But he looks the same. He looks so good.
Oh, he always took such good. And, their house was around the corner from us, and that's gone. They moved toward that town.
Yeah.
I think he's in Lake Park. I can't remember where they moved. But
I didn't know where they ended up because they were living with Elizabeth, or they were living with, Elizabeth this year. They had to stay temporarily. They weren't sure where they were going to go.
Okay.
So, maybe they were
in
Lake Park now.
Good.
Yeah, so Louisiana food, Cajun cooking.
Oh, yeah.
You make a gumbo or
I do.
Do you really?
Yes, absolutely.
So few people I know that do that. Wow.
Oh no, I definitely do, and more in the fall,
Yeah.
And I used to love being able to get Gulf crab meat, but I don't think it's as easy to get anymore. And I don't know. It was funny. We were at somebody's. We were at a restaurant the other night, and 3 of us, and when they were saying what the special was, and when they said, and Gulf shrimp, and it was amazing how people reacted. Instead of like, ooh, Gulf shrimp, it was more like, ooh, Gulf shrimp, because there's such a, now you have to worry about, does it have, this in it and that in it, and all the stuff going on with the Gulf? Is it going to be blue-green algae affected, all that stuff? So I was like, oh, that's so sad. It used to be like
that
a
was
bragging
the gold, the platinum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
That's kind of a
if you ever need somebody to do a taste test, or you want to trade for some shampoo.
I love the order.
Oh my gosh, it's my all-time favorite food.
I sort of learned how to make it. My mother was sort of the 50s mother with 5 kids that they were into cans, and she wasn't doing the fresh vegetable thing.
Yeah.
Took good care of us. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just that she didn't really get spend all her day in the kitchen, and she didn't have a garden. So But she did make good gumbo, and when I made my first one, I was working in a restaurant in New Orleans, and I decided I'm going to make for all the employees. I'm going to make gumbo. Of course, I'd never, made anything like that, but I remember back then, it used to be very expensive to call long distance. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
But I spent
landline
more
or cell phone. They were both expensive.
Yes, I mean, this is way before cell phones. But I had to
Long
call her
distance.
for every step, and I remember at the end of the day, I had spent more money on the phone than the seafood for
to
a
get the
meal.
recipe.
I think there was 20 people working there, and I was like, I'm going to make y'all gumbo. But anyway, yes, I was my baptism by fire with cooking, was
Oh my
doing
gosh.
gumbo. Yeah.
Well, what wasn't the history of gumbo? That was like they were poor and they had to whatever
Whatever
they
you
had, they put in the
Yeah.
what created gumbo. But just
Yeah. No, it's
love hearing that. Well,
and
really.
going back to that's another reason to go to New Orleans or Louisiana.
Food,
It's
right?
just you can just spend your whole time there, just going restaurant to restaurant.
Yeah. It's my absolute favorite food.
Oh,
etouffee
good. Well, I'm
and
glad to
gumbo,
know
yeah.
that.
Oh my
All
god!
right.
When you started telling me you were from there, I was like, I got to find out if she
Have
has
you
that in
found
her.
one here, a restaurant that you think has good gumbo? I haven't.
I haven't. No, I don't
okay.
see it very often. Where's
No.
the last place I can't remember the last time I had it, and no, I don't know. My wife and I drove through on 10. We drove through. We had to go to Houston for a surgery that she had, so we went through and stopped in Slidell or however you say that along the way. And got some beignets, and we stopped at another restaurant along I-10 too that I looked up that had some great. What do we get? Etouffee? I don't remember exactly what we got.
I love etouffee too.
Yeah, me too. It was
Yeah.
so good. It was kind of off the beaten path a little. It was a little dumpy place. But
Yeah, that's
it was
okay.
good.
Dumpy
yeah,
places.
it doesn't matter. Right? The food is what I'm going there for. And yeah,
Good. Okay.
It's just my special place in my heart for that food.
When I would drive, I don't love flying, and I drive home when I go home a lot of times, and I'd stop in the Funiac Springs, which is right off I-10.
Yeah.
And there's an old, I hope it's still there. It was like an old Masonic or Elks thing that they made it into a hotel. It's like the Funiac Inn. Very little, but they got the last time Paul and I was with me, we stopped and their chef was like a really good chef from New Orleans. Oh my God, it was so good. It was like the Funiac Springs has great, Louisiana food. Who knew? It's not very far from Louisiana, but that was, if you ever go in I-10 again, you gotta look into it.
Make a point for that because that was the highlight of my trip.
Yeah, I hope he's still there. That was a few years ago, but still, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I gotta have you. I got to get on your list for leftovers at some point. Really,
absolutely,
please,
yeah.
or at least your recipe. Anyway.
Oh, I'll cook for you. Okay. Yeah, I love cooking. Yeah.
Really, you will have shampoo for a lifetime. I promise you.
Well, that's what's so funny in my kitchen. When I look around, even magazines, but just going into anyone's kitchen, it always cracks me up. My kitchen, you've seen through it. I hope it's this big. It is the tiniest kitchen in the world, and I'm sure I cook more than anyone in downtown.
Yeah, and they have these beds. I know. I see where at the house my father grew up in, where my grandmother used to do all this cooking. It was a tiny little space, but some of the best food in the world came out of that. Space.
I wouldn't mind a little more space,
It'd
but
probably be nice,
but I'm used to it, so it sort of works. But
now they've turned kitchens into they look like a commercial kitchen. They have all the the wolf stove.
Oh yeah.
The Sub-Zero.
It is. You remember when Hildy's Tea Room was downtown?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
And a friend of ours had a wedding at their house, and they had a state-of-the-art kitchen. And this is I'm pretty sure if not the 80s, probably the 80s, but they didn't cook. They had this giant kitchen with all these, incredible things. Yeah. And she just liked to go out, so they went out every night for dinner. And the night of the reception for their child's wedding, no one knew how to turn the oven on.
I love it. I'm wondering how many people really use these places.
And Hildy had she was catering it. She had to take all the food back to the tea room and warm
it there. Huh? Oh my gosh.
And the man at the house was pretty engineering oriented. He knew how to do things and fix things, but it was, even with the manual, no one, and I thought, this is crazy.
Going. Yeah. Look beautiful, but doesn't get used.
I know. It took them a long time to realize it. So.
How about music? What music's playing when you're cooking, writing, designing, driving, walking?
I'm afraid I'm a very old-fashioned, for music. I could listen to, I have, my people that I could listen to Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I could listen to Dolly Parton. I could listen to Patsy Cline.
Oh, yeah.
Love Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
I could listen to Bob Dylan. It's kind of the 80s, 90s. I'm sorry, I am ignorant about. There's so little I resonate with music today.
Yeah, well, Patsy's one we don't have on. So I try to put together a playlist of the people we have on the show. And
Oh,
so
yeah?
Patsy Cline isn't on there yet, and Patsy Cline was one of my mother's absolute favorites.
Oh.
Patsy was, playing often when the Manhattans would be flowing in the house.
Oh,
Patsy
yeah.
Cline would be on.
I Fall to Pieces. I love Joni Mitchell. I could, listen. Oh, who else? There's just so many of the, that era to me was just such great music. And, some even back before the McGuire sister, I could, things that you just don't hear anymore. I wish I was more interested in knowing more, but when I hear stuff on the radio that's current, it doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
whether I'm not, because I don't hear the words. A lot of times, just the harmonies, like,
Yeah.
Crosby, Stills, I could just so beautiful.
Yeah, it was-
Simon and Garfunkel, oh my God,
Instruments. There were
instruments and their
there were vocals
voices and their songs. And so yeah. And then, a lot of the blues. When we got
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had the
incredible.
music capital there.
It
Just-
was. In fact, when we got married in New Orleans, and I have a friend who's a musician, and he said, I want to play at your wedding. And he brought down the hottest band. It was Sonny Landreth, who's he plays with Bonnie Raitt, and I love Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah. Wow.
And there was 3 or 4 other people, and my friend's name is Steve Kahn. He's wonderful. He lives in Nashville. And so I should get you some of his music. In fact, there's one, as we're, Wake Up More. I'll just get you a CD or something, because he's got a lot of really great ones. But I have brought him since the wedding, which was in '85. I've had 3 house concerts for him. One was at the Sherwin home with Cutlass
Right.
Cove. One was at Chez Boette.
Mm-hmm.
And where was the last one was at the Campiello's Club Room.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it
how
was
neat.
just,
Yeah.
it was great. He is so good. So yeah, I listened to him, and I just, it is fun to hear that music.
Yeah,
And,
well, good. You added some good new names to our list for our Spotify Naples Souls Unfiltered playlist. So,
Yes,
great.
and I'll send you a Steve Kahn, and oh God, there's some beautiful. He's done ballads, but he's done fun stuff. And then the one, now as we're getting older, he had one called "Sing Me to the Other Side" that'll just because so many of our friends are leaving the planet,
Yeah.
And so I think he wrote that for one of them, and it just kind of
Sing Me to
"Sing
the
Me
Other
to
Side.
the Other Side." Yeah. So.
It'll probably have me choked up.
You will,
listening to it. I just hear
but there's
title.
some fun ones too. There's some hilarious ones. There's one called "I've Got Your Dog" that you might want to listen to. Okay.
Coffee or tea order?
Coffee,
How do you like it?
black.
None of the Starbucks fancy stuff, right? Just straight black.
I do love a cappuccino when we go out. If we go to a
Yeah.
special coffee and you don't mind paying $7 for a coffee.
Yeah.
I don't do it every day, but I
New
do
Orleans
like
has
it.
it. What is it? Chicory coffee?
Yeah, I don't love that. I used
No?
to. I've
That's a
gotten
New Orleans
It
product, or
is
from-
coffee and chicory.
Yeah.
And, community.
Community guy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
and I used to be a big fan of that, and I don't know what happened. I think just like I used to drink it with milk, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I just think good, strong, organic coffee is,
Yeah.
and then, the more you hear about, it's sort of like everything you start peeling a layer about, it's like, okay, well, I love avocados, but guess what they're doing to the forests in Mexico so they can grow avocados? And you're like, okay, so now I have to avoid Mexican,
Yeah.
if it's not shade-grown coffee, you have to kind of worry about that, So, the more you know, the more you kind of have to shop. I mean, I'm a definite believer that consumer power is so important.
Sure.
Like what we buy is really, what you can what you value, you know, and
yeah.
now, unfortunately, I feel like our system is so geared towards fast foods and, you know, slash and burn that, you know, the people who are trying to grow well and do the right thing, you know, it makes it really hard for them. But that's who I want to support, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I heard I got to go talk to Tim Tetzlaff, which would be another good one at the zoo, because he is real into the whole, you know, fair trade coffee world, and that to me says a lot. You know, I really appreciate that he's gearing that way too. So, you know, we have a lot of options now. There's a lot.
We
you
do.
know, we never
just gotta get educated on it.
Yeah.
Come on in. You can come in. It's okay. Come on. Come in. You're okay. We're just chatting away, having a good time here. We could be here all day. I know you got so many great stories and good stuff. What do you get doing, Maria?
Towel, we don't have any.
Oh, you need towels. All right, I'm sorry, Maria. All right, we're almost done.
You're slipping on the job here.
Yeah, I guess. I just get carried away. It's just so interesting. Okay, just be happy. All right, I'll do that. No, you're
That's
good.
okay.
All good. Okay, let's see where I was.
I do
on
like
the
sweet
list
tea, which I shouldn't, but I do iced tea.
Sweet tea,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
That just seems like a
trying to
Southern
avoid
thing.
sugar a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
What's your favorite Naples restaurant or hidden local gem right now?
Oh, you know, I love Blue Provence and I love Escalante or Veranda E.
Yeah.
And, you know, we don't go out that much because I like to cook, but during the sizzle month, we
where you
thought
get in?
we
Yeah,
did, and
yeah.
it was so good. We tried. Well, we went to Blue Provence and we went to Escalante, but I have to say I'm kind of ignorant about what's north of, you know, Central Avenue. I mean, we really tend to.
Why would you need to go anywhere? You're in the
I'm
heart.
right in the middle,
You're,
and like I say, it's so those.
You could walk everywhere.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly.
perfect.
Yeah, and there's so many good ones right around us. You know, I like. Ridgeways is consistent. You know, you can always count on them, and there's a few that I haven't even been to on Fifth Avenue. They seem to, you know, come and go. But we did go to that Colonial. That was really nice. That's new, and
That's on Fifth.
yeah,
Colonial,
it's got the decor is absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
It's kind of an Asian, and where else did there just? And I still love Kelly's.
Yeah,
I
know.
just love going to Kelly's.
That's the old school original. Yeah, Kelly's,
It is, and
I've been there a long time.
it's
I
not
gotta
like
go.
the food is the best in the world, but I just love that it's still there.
Yeah,
you know, it's
such
the
a great
oldest
spot.
restaurant that left, and they've gone through their share of hurricanes. I'm sure they went through all kind of water in there, but they came back. And
Kelly's Fish House.
Kelly Fish House, it's, and you know, if you try to call them, they'll never answer the phone. You can't make a reservation. You can't know what time they open or close. So you just have to take your chances.
Yeah, that's the heart.
But I guess there's a bunch of real fashionable ones, right? And I hear y'all are getting a new one here that sounded real interesting. Where Royce was?
I hadn't heard the latest.
Oh yeah, have you heard that? I just read about it, and everyone was kind of excited, and I can't remember where I read it or what I read. But.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Love that down here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like to get my hopes up too much because sometimes they don't last that long too. You know, we get a good one in and they're in and out. They can't survive those summers. You know, we
I
lost some
know
of
it's
them this
tough.
summer.
Do you have a favorite? Yeah.
I like to cook myself too, so don't go out as much. But I love fish. I love
the Nemo's. Everyone loves Nemo's.
Nemo's is great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're one of my one of my favorites. Don't go there very often. But, but if we do, there's is it Del Mar on Fifth? Is
Oh yeah.
Del Mar? What I love about that is they do a seafood, like a seafood boil kind of.
Okay.
And it's in a big. It's more of an appetizer, but it's got mussels and clams and shrimp and fish. It reminds me a little bit of a Japino kind of thing, and I love it. We go there and just get an appetizer, but we've only done that a couple times because we don't go out that much. But if we do, that's one of our
that's
spots.
good to know.
And
yeah, that's a pretty place too.
Yeah, it is.
Like
it's
that.
real nice. It's pretty on the second floor, and to go down to Fifth. I love going to Fifth. Just doesn't happen very often, but those are probably my. Yes, I love fish. You know, I could live on fish. I remember.
Are you a fisherman too, like your dad?
I am not. He got it. I mean, he had it, and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I would go with him. You know, he would bring me out on fish, and we always had so much fish.
Yeah,
you know? the grouper, and I didn't appreciate it at the time that I had unlimited grouper to eat,
Right.
and how much I love it. And now it's not as common, or even catching it is not as common.
Oh,
'cause
I
I've already
know,
fished
I know.
it, but it was that's one of my favorites, the Naples.
Yeah.
But I don't. But that's what got us here was fishing. So he brought me here, so I'm always grateful that
And you
Dad
cook
live in
it,
Philly.
so that's
yeah,
good.
I'll happily cook it.
Yeah. Good.
Love it.
Good.
Let's see. Your these you kind of told me your book already.
Yeah.
So I got that. That's on my list now too. Here we go. What book or movie has had a profound impact on your life?
Ooh, so many. To Kill a Mockingbird, book and movie, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
That's
be.
Radley. Wait, so our neighbors named their pets after.
Scout and Atticus.
Scat.
That's my.
Scout.
I've named my pets after them.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, my 2 cats were Scout and Atticus.
Scout and Atticus.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
our neighbor's boxer. They just had to put her down.
Oh.
Scout. She was my favorite. But Scout. That's how I'd always remember the name, because I had to think of the book.
Yeah. No, that was definitely, probably one of the biggest. And,
Yeah.
so I loved Wings of Desire. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's got subtitles, but that was very impactful. There's so many that, in fact, one day I was just trying to write them all down because I thought that my top 5 are real easy to come up with, and now I'm like blanking on them. But, that was definitely right up there.
Yeah.
And and I used to read. I mean, I was a bigger reader, I think, when I was young. I don't know why. I think in the summers they would kind of give you go read 10 books. Remember? I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah.
But you know, so
I never did it, but I was supposed to do it. Yeah. But now I love books. Now I like books. The older I get, the more I appreciate them. But I do use the audio books, the Audible version of it.
It's wonderful. Yeah. You like fiction? Are you kind of historical fiction or?
More non-fiction. I mean, I'd like to find a genre of fiction I'm usually always like trying to fix something in my life. So I'm reading a or biographies. I like to, like biographies on people, the history, and that's why I'm excited about your books.
Yeah.
What you've got coming. I love history. I'm just
And
fascinated
if you haven't read, you would appreciate A Land Remembered by Patrick Smith.
Okay.
It is a history of Florida. It is everyone's kind of like, the amazing history. I mean, he is so good. And Paul and I actually had him when he was alive at our gallery speaking. We did so much fun stuff. We didn't,
Wow.
I don't know how we did it, but because now it seems like a lot. But yeah, it is really highly recommended.
Remembered?
A Land Remembered.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotta
the library.
add that to the list of the other ones, Zach.
Yeah,
please.
it's very readable. And I tell you another one that, as far as local history and it's, historical, I think nonfiction is, if it's called fiction or nonfiction, Shadow Country by Peter Matheson.
Okay.
And it's the story of Mr. Watson out in, the notorious murderer. He's got a chapter or a page in our book. But that, Peter Matheson, did you ever read any? He wrote At Play in the Fields of the Lord and something Snow Leopard or something. He's an incredible writer,
Okay.
but he's gone now. But he came to Naples and did research on the book, and we met him
okay.
at a party. And,
Oh, wow.
And the book he wrote, Shadow Country, his editor made him divide it into a trilogy. So it was Killing Mr. Watson and something about the bones.
Okay.
I could never get into those, but for some reason, Shadow Country, even though it was 900 pages, I just thought was amazing.
Shadow Country.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you need to kind of keep notes. It's one of those things. I think my mother didn't have any real worries when she sent us to the movies when we were little. Like a lot of people would like, well, what rated is it? And so I saw all kind of stuff when we were little. But I know my first that I loved was Auntie Mame. Did you ever? It's like Rosalind Russell. I mean, I was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But that made an impression on me. That was a wonderful movie, and. Yeah, but that was, a long time ago.
Help shape you at 5?
It was just this woman who had a joie de vivre that just, was just so fun,
Yeah.
And it still stands up. I've seen it, since. I mean, they unfortunately have some, stereotypes that would be not politically correct probably now.
Yeah.
Somewhat like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's fun about seeing all those, is to see like the culture and what was acceptable. And
Yeah.
now, gosh, they would get so upset about some of the things that happen. Some stuff needed to change, but some of it's just part of life that people are afraid to say now because they can't.
Yeah.
But
So
I this has been so fascinating for me. It's been such an honor to hear so many of the old stories and to see you being such a big part of capturing the soul of Naples, and so much.
I hope
and have
so.
much,
It's going to be easy to. I feel like already when I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I want to rewrite. You know what I mean? It's like it's never feels finished, and you hear new stories from people that you're like, oh, I wish I'd have been able to put that in, and I found this picture I want to put in.
Yeah.
So
it's never ending.
It's never
keep
ending.
Going, right?
Yeah, but I'm glad I got Laverne Gaynor in. I got a picture of her.
Yeah, what a great one too.
I appreciate that you appreciate that, because
warms my heart.
Felt like it showed her at such an exuberant young age.
Yeah,
and they look all happy,
classy and beautiful and so sweet. You could just see her in that picture. What a great capturing of her and the history of our community. So we got to do this again because there's so much more I want to cover that we just scratched the surface, I think. So
absolutely. I'm up for it.
Good.
And I applaud you for doing this at all. I mean,
it doesn't exist. I don't think there's enough. There's so many. I want this to. I look back. I wish I had my parents to talk to again. Like there's so many things that I wanted to know that I don't know, and just getting the stories out.
And like I say, it's like we're the old timers now. It's like, how'd that happen? There were so many people that, I mean, even my landlord and Mr. Sloan, the man who, whose father built our house. Why didn't I go and just talk to him?
Yeah.
He would have been very open to it.
Of course.
I just just why didn't I? I was busy,
Yeah. Well, we're on a mission, so you could be my partner and get those people between Lanny and all the people and Elizabeth and
Elizabeth. Try to get Elizabeth.
Gosh.
She comes in January, I think.
Okay.
And like I say, she'll kind of blow your socks off. She's just a different. She comes from another planet somehow. But she's all heart, and she's just to listen to her voice. I just could listen to her voice, because she's got this raspy, wonderful Southern voice that I don't know. She's just
fellow Louisiana too.
Just,
that's going to be great.
And they've been here. I mean, her husband Clark, they came down and I don't know exactly, bought a radio station or something, but it was like, late 60s or early 70s.
Yeah, they're really early times.
So they really, she remembers the beach store, which I don't remember,
Yeah.
Did you remember that?
Yeah.
Was that there?
I don't remember if it was there. I remember hearing
about it.
Yeah, the beach store.
Yeah. And, the hotel went down in 65, which Paul and I both, like, it would have been across the street from us. And we both feel like that was, what a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, when everybody, and I've tried to ask when I first got here, just naively, like, well, why did they tear that down? And truthfully, I didn't get a good answer. I think it didn't have to go. I mean, yes, it got beat up in the hurricane and, Donna, but it was the wood. It was this, it could have been restored. I just kind of sad that one went and it's a parking lot,
so for a parking lot,
and it would have, the picture that I showed you when I was reading that Florence Haldeman Price's little excerpt, our Donna put together. She just merged them, and it's sort of like a fake picture because she has the hotel, but she has it looking from the pier. So when you see it, it's like, well, who took? And Paul said, well, it doesn't really work because there's not that shows a telephone pole on the beach, and that wouldn't be good. But it's okay. It's just to get the visual of what you would see when you would get off of the boat at the pier and look down at the hotel.
That's what the pier was for.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she just made it work, and I think it was brilliant. So I just would love to have seen that hotel.
Yeah.
To be.
Lots of those that we're missing.
And kind of like you said, the Boca Grande, I mean, that one was more elegant. I think that the Collier Inn, I think, had a little more elegance. But the Marco Hotel. Did y'all ever go down there?
Didn't. No, I talked to Paul about that quite a bit, but no, I've never been.
Well,
No.
for a while I was on the board of what was it, the Collier County, it was Historical and Archaeological Preservation or something board. And because that is such a historic building, it was built in the 1880s, and it's fallen apart kind of, and we got to kind of tour it. And I mean, I know it's probably going to go down, but it's such a shame,
Yeah.
But
that's a
the
big piece of
pilings
history.
are like rotted, tree trunks.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the
and
pictures of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wish that there was more of an ethic here of preservation.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I mean, Naples has so much to recommend it, and it's just that is missing.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I'm shocked to know that that whole section there, it wasn't preserved, of Broad. That is not, but it's everybody wants to be here, and they keep coming here, and
I know.
the values keep going up, and everything's so precious. So you love it and you hate it for both reasons.
Are you still North Naples, or where are y'all now?
Yeah, we're north. I'm off of Livingston now.
Oh, you said Livingston.
Yeah, Livingston,
Okay.
just south of Immokalee Road. But
Okay.
I've mostly been north. Lived in Bonita for a little while, but grew up in Vanderbilt on Tradewinds Avenue, which all those houses. We lived in an old stilt house that was built in '77 by Don Cahill, was the architect, and it was a little 1,200 square foot. 1,600 square foot.
Is that
Had
where
three
y'all's
bedrooms.
first home? Was that when
Yeah,
you went from
it was a small home. We lived in a very big home, Tudor home in Philadelphia.
But I mean, when you got here and
when we
got
came
off
here,
of the...
we were in that big home.
Yeah.
Went to the motorhome. So we're in this enormous home. We lived in a motorhome for 3 months. Then we bought this tiny house by today's standards, but it seemed like a mansion moving out of the motorhome. So I think my parents did that by design.
And that
I
was the one
thinking-
at Vanderbilt?
Yeah, it had just been built by Don Cahill on 247 Tradewinds Avenue. Yeah, but he picked it because he could fish out back. It was on the lot, and we could fish. And even though it felt like we were almost in Fort Myers at the time, because
that was
drive to
the
downtown.
boondocks.
He
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Wow.
It was way far out.
Did your
so-
daddy also cook, or did he just
Oh,
fish?
he's a great cook. Yeah,
Okay.
but mom and dad both great cooks. But he loved to cook. He was in fact, he and Dr. Spano would, they'd take turns. One would cook at one house, one would cook at the other house. That was a big deal for him. And instead of when they would have the fundraising events, they would come and ask for haircuts or whatever donation. Instead of donating that, he would donate a meal that he would cook at his house. And they would auction it off for a dinner at Robert's because he would cook some spectacular. He was such a great cook. He and my mother, they were great hosts, and they would host great parties. And his food was known, so he was known for his cooking. And people would buy these dinner for 10 or whatever for the community.
How
school.
old was he when he passed?
75.
Oh, that seems young.
Yeah. He was. He had been sick for a while. He was ready, but definitely young in today's standards. Yeah, definitely. He didn't take good care of himself. He was a smoker and a drinker.
Okay, well, that does take a toll.
Yeah, it did take its toll, but he lived good. He loved living that way. He went out. In fact, Dr. Spano told him he had a spot on his lung. He had some lung cancer. And he was emphysema. He was on oxygen. Dr. Spano told him, "Don't bother quitting smoking. You might as well enjoy it while you got it, because damage is done, and it keeps your blood pressure down right now. So keep going."
And your mom, did she last
She
much?
passed real young. She passed at 57.
Oh, God.
She had cancer also.
Oh, that's terribly young.
Yeah, I know. And I think I'm older than she is when she passed. Like how at the time I knew it was young, but I didn't know how young until I got to that age.
Because you're in your little 50s old,
Yeah, it was, right, yeah. And then now I go, wow, she was really just, she's been gone a while. But the two of them they're together. They're Italian love and they're gracious hosts, and that's what the salons were because they were pretty much having a party. It was like a cocktail party to them. It was like, come to our home.
Fun.
That's the salon that we're gonna. My mom would
did
work
she
up
work
front.
into?
She did. She'd work up front, and she just knew all the town tea and the gossip of the community, and knew. Well, she talked about Elizabeth and Clark and Valerie and Joe and the Gargiulos and all the names of the town.
I see you need to be interviewed. You got the stories too.
Yeah, I got little pieces
of
it. My little pieces of the history of it. But I just am so I love it so much. It's a special place. We watched it grow up.
Well, I loved it. I didn't realize it. This is a third generation.
My son and daughter are involved in a lot of. We were just talking about that the other day. We have a lot of our staff on our team that are, third generation. We have 4 generations of work here. We have from 70 to
Jeez.
17, a wide range.
Well,
between our
that
60
says a
people.
lot about your business if you can hold on to generations of people.
Yeah. Well, we're
That's-
blessed. I think there's a lot of good. We got the good people in our family and in our. I'm lucky I get to work with them. Some fun people. We have a
That's
good time.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's been nice.
We a lot of blessings, don't we?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. Speaking of blessings, I have one most important question, and the final question is, what do you love about your life?
Oh, I love that I live in a home that I love with a man that I love, and I'm near the water, and I have still freedom to holding on. I love that I've had. I sometimes wonder, like when you wake up and you think, how did I get to be born in this world and not born in a tent in Sudan? I mean, it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
and
is.
so,
yeah.
And even this morning I was thinking, okay, I got up and I went to PT. I've got this leg thing, and nice people there helped me. Then I get to have breakfast with a friend and have a lot of laughs, and then I get to come home and have her help me do something else, and then I get to come here and have a hair done and get, it's just like the little graciousness of the day. That's sort of where I really appreciating what there is here, and what and then of course to me it's like our health that we're getting to where things are falling apart, but we're trying to keep them together. And Paul and I still got a lot of plans. We got travel plans. We're talking about going to Africa, and we're going to Bermuda and all these places. And you really realize I used to have this little cup, and somebody made me give it to him, but I said I don't need to have it. I know it's true. There's no wealth but health. And when you think about it, that is the truth.
Yeah.
And I know people that are up on these multi-zillion-dollar mansions, and they're just sitting there in their, sick bed or wheelchair with no fun,
Yeah, it means nothing. None of that
it's
means
like
anything.
the money thing is just not what it's about.
No.
And, I don't know. I feel like, I grew up in a very financially precarious world in a lot of ways, but I always knew I was okay. You know what I mean? It was so the money thing to me, like the chase for it, I never got that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody in my family did. I think we all saw where it led, that chase, and it didn't a good necessarily place.
Yeah.
So just try to take care of yourself, support yourself, try to find a way to be happy. So that's kind of where I am right now. I just want to try to stay healthy. I've had my share of, things go wrong, but right now I feel pretty good.
Yeah, Well, you look great, and your spirit's so alive and full. Thank you for sharing it with us, too. And
absolutely.
I can't wait for the book and for our next time.
I hope you love it. I really do.
I already know.
It was sort of one of those things. It's like, well, we just do this book, and we just jumped in, and like I said, it was a lot of interruptions, but I feel like we're gonna see it in print, which is hard to believe. I'm finally going to see it because it's been 4 years. And I guess we thought it would take a year, and just didn't really know what we were getting into.
Well, it's quite an undertaking, and
it is bigger, and I would approach it, like I say, like everything you learn along the way, how you'd have done things differently. There are people I probably would have interviewed if I'd have known to interview them. There are people, collections out, but we did it. We got where we got, and it is what it is.
December 2025. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're ready for it.
So good.
Well, God bless you, and thank you again so much. And I can't wait for the gumbo too.
You're gonna get gumbo.
Okay.
Yeah.